Hey, my lovely goal-getters. Welcome to the Moms Making Money Show. I'm your host, Amie Pederson, business mentor and confidence coach for the emerging boss mom. It's my mission to help amazing women just like you up-level yourself and your business because you are meant for more than wiping boogers and folding laundry. I'm also a wife, mother, urban farmer, influencer, green juice enthusiast, and an unapologetic lover of cowboy boots. I can't wait to help you grow your business by sharing my tips, tricks, proven business strategy, experience, and incredible guests. Hang on tight and enjoy the show. This episode is brought to you by ButcherBox. This is an amazing service of being able to skip the store and spend more time on what's really important, our families. This is a company that I use to get my meat delivered, free delivery, right to my front door. Every single box that I get every month is made specifically based on my customization. I get to pick everything that goes in there. And I get to do so confidently knowing that 100% of my animal protein is coming from 100% grass-fed and grass-finished beef, heritage breed pork, and free-range organic chicken. All of it is amazing. I also love knowing that none of these animals are ever given hormones or antibiotics. I love that they have partnered with small farms and that they're able to deliver this meat to us for less than $6 a meal. Plus, it's always free shipping. And the way that they're able to save us money is because they're skipping the middleman. They're skipping the store. So all of that markup that we typically see on grass-fed and grass-finished products and organic chicken and sustainably raised meat and animal proteins, all of that has been removed because everything comes straight from them to your front door. And it's super important to me as an animal lover, as somebody who lives on a little mini farm myself, that all of these animal proteins have been naturally and responsibly raised and fed. This is a huge deal for me, but it also makes the quality of the meat so much better. We get tons and tons of compliments every time we prepare a meal for somebody else, as well as just loving it ourselves. We've used ButcherBox for our Thanksgiving turkey, as well as the prime rib for Christmas, and we just love it. So if you want to give it a try, use coupon code AP10, like Amie Pederson 10, and they'll give you $10 off your first box, as well as they'll give you a free package of bacon in your order. Welcome back, everybody. I am here with the one and only Michelle Stonhill. She is a 7-figure success coach. She's also a #1 best-selling author, and she is incredible. She's going to talk to us today about some really awesome things. But first, I want to turn it over to you, Michelle. I would love for you to tell us a little bit about your journey and what made you decide to go down this path to become a female entrepreneur and to really just believe in yourself and take not only your business, but your life to that next level.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And great question to start out. I wouldn't say that there was a moment where I decided I'm going to be an entrepreneurial business owner. It was more of a feeling that grew, like a feeling that most women share with me, actually, that I coach and mentor, that they've experienced. And it's this kind of unsettled feeling of there's more for me. I feel like I could do more, have more, be more, create more, and it kind of just doesn't go away. And for me, that grew over a period of time because I was certain for a long time that business, entrepreneurship, wealth, success wasn't for me. And the reason I felt like that, looking back, is because I was very conflicted on what that meant as an individual. My dad came from a long line of millionaires and business owners and successful entrepreneurs and drilled it into me that that was the way to go and that I shouldn't work for anyone else. My mum's side of the family were the opposite. They all had jobs, just about got by financially, but they were the best kind of people. They were the people that taught me my strong morals and values. They were very family orientated. And I had a really challenging relationship with my father. And in fact, we haven't spoken now for about 10 years. And he's not a bad person, but he struggles emotionally. So I ended up in a place where I'd unconsciously formed a belief that if I went down the path of entrepreneurship and wealth and success, that I would be making myself less like my mom's side of the family, who I valued so much, and more like my father's side of the family, who I wasn't so close to. So for me to kind of step up and go, actually, I want to do this, and I feel I can do this, and I've got it in me to be successful, and I can still be a good person. That was quite a shift that needed to happen. And once that shift had taken place, that's what really freed me up to go after it.
I love that. And I love how, and I think a lot of people can actually relate to this, part of your upbringing had, some influence in making that decision. And, not to say that it held you back or anything like that, but it definitely came to mind when the time came, right?
Yeah. And I'd say it probably did hold me back for a long time. It's necessary, and it's been part of my journey. And, I think everything happens for us, not to us. I'm grateful for that experience too. But yeah, it played a part in keeping me playing small for far longer than I needed to.
So aside from that, what do you feel like some of the other obstacles that you ended up having to face as you got started down this journey?
Wow, there's so many, aren't there? Like, there are so many. And I think the biggest obstacle is keeping on, because there's always going to be challenges. As we go to the next level of success, we experience upper limits constantly. And that feeling of growth feels almost like a stretch. And those challenges come in many forms, don't they? People who don't quite get you, see your vision, put you down, tell you it's not going to happen, dream stealers, neckheads, as I call them. And some of them mean well, they're looking out for you. Some of them love you, think they're doing right by you, kind of warning you off this lifestyle or this business idea that might not work out. But there's those challenges, and then there's the challenges in form of hate. When you do start to experience a level of success, not everybody's going to like that, because it puts a magnifying glass on their mediocrity. So there's been many, and I think the biggest challenge is keeping going through it and not allowing any of it, anyone, anything to defeat you or to steal those dreams that you've got. And some days that's easier than others. Because some days, I don't know, I've got PMT or, it's that time of the month and I just don't feel my best self and I could give it all up. We're women and we're hormonal and we're vulnerable sometimes, and we experience crazy shit in our heads that can derail us to a point where it would be easier some days to give up than it is to carry on. So the challenge is carrying on in those days, I think. Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like you said, at every new level, you face new limits. And, I think some of those common limits are, getting to, first $5,000 month, then first $10,000 month, then that first 6-figure year, and even to that first 7 figures. And even if you made, say, like $999,000, and 99 cents or something like that, and you just missed it by a penny, it's typically, there's that mindset stuff that comes along with that you have to believe so many things to break through that at every single level as you go.
New levels, new devils. That's what I tell all my clients. If you're experiencing a new devil, it's because you've hit a new level. Let's first celebrate it. Then we're going to work our way around it, because if we experience challenges, then we're growing. The only people that don't experience hate is people that aren't in the arena, being visible. The only people that don't experience challenging clients are the people that don't have any clients because they've not put themselves out there yet or built the strategies to get the clients. So everything you face is a challenge. We've got to first celebrate, I believe.
Yes. I really like it, that way of thinking about it, instead of conquering the challenge so you can celebrate, but to celebrate it first. I think that's really powerful.
Definitely. And I say to people, I wish you so much challenge, because that might sound sadistic or weird, but it's in those challenges where we really do, and it's cliche, but we really do experience the most opportunity to develop into the person we need to become to have the success that we want. Because there's great business ideas out there all the time. There's businesses that have amazing potential. It's the person behind them that makes the difference. And if we want to have more, then we've got to ask ourselves how we can be more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like sometimes, women, I don't know about men because I'm not a man, so I have a hard time relating to what they think and how they feel. But I feel like women, the women I've worked with, the women I know, and then myself, we internalize so much stuff, like we bring in all of those opinions and all of those comments, and we just let them pile up inside instead of basically telling people like, nope, this is your stuff. You take it back. I don't want anything to do with it. But then it's like, it puts us into like a little tailspin, sometimes a mini tailspin, sometimes a complete like breakdown tailspin. But I often find that after, a quote unquote breakdown, and I'm not talking about like anything medical here or whatever, but after like a kind of like a breakdown, you have a huge breakthrough.
Yeah. If we deal with it in the right way too, I totally agree. If we look for the lessons, the blessings, the things that we will do differently going forward as a result, everything's handed to us as a gift to be better. And I believe that. And I look back now over the last, few years, and I think of all the really big challenges that have come up that felt at the time so hard, that, gut-wrenchingly hard stuff sometimes that brings us to our knees. I look back and I'm like, wow, that was the moment where I grew into the next version of me. That was the moment where I changed certain things. But because you asked the right question through those challenges, like, what am I being guided to learn here? If this was a blessing and this was a lesson, then what would the lesson be? What will I do differently next time? How will I avoid it or work through it if it comes up again? Like, it's the powerful questions we ask ourselves through the challenges that make the biggest difference.
I find that it takes, I don't know exactly what it takes, but getting into that personal growth, personal development type of space in order to even ask yourself those hard questions of, how can I make this better? How can I do this different? How can I improve? You know what I mean? Like I feel like if you've never done a lick of personal development in your life and you're stuck in what I like to call employee mindset, where you just kind of, punch in, punch out, wash, repeat. I feel like you don't ever ask yourself what's next and how can I make this better? You're kind of put into that mold of, this is what you get and you get to like it, instead of, well, I really do feel that feeling of wanting more. I really do feel like I can be something. People just kind of shake it off. I once had a coworker tell me like, yeah, no, that's not reality. If you grew up poor, you're likely to stay poor. If you grew up rich, then you have a much better upper hand. And, at first what he said made total sense to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I can totally see that. Because he was talking about the whole idea of, you really can't be whatever you want when you grow up. And now I look at that and I'm like, no, he's so wrong. He's absolutely wrong. Like, I know so many amazing people who, I can say like, look at this guy or look at this girl, and that proves his point wrong. And, but I feel like that's, part of an employee mindset. That's part of that poverty mindset. And it doesn't have to be that way.
Oh my God, no. And I've just said to you before, poverty pisses me off because there's no need for it now. And actually those dated ideas that he had and then, forced upon you, this is how beliefs are set, because they are passed down by other people. We're a product of our beliefs. We are, where they're formed by our experiences, other people's opinions. And it's not until we decide, actually, I'm going to take a look at them and start questioning everything, that we can start to unpick it. Because that may have been true one day, when we were living in the agricultural age, when all the money was made from land, you were either born into landowners or you worked on the land, and there was this clear divide. The only way to make money was to have land. That was years ago. We've come a long way since then as a society, as human beings, and we're living in the technology age, the age of information. There is no need for anybody to be poor right now. You can, as long as you've got the internet. I understand that people in third world countries, that's a legit reason,
right,
that there is no opportunity there. But in the first world, There is no reason for poverty. There's no reason to live in quiet desperation doing something you hate. You can monetize who you are as a person, the skills that you already have, and you can turn them into a business that can use online to get that message out there and make money really quickly. And that's the world we're living in. If you just got to make time to learn. So that kind of, well, if you're born a certain way, if you live with a certain, mentality in a certain family, that's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit.
I couldn't agree more. Let's talk about this term you've coined, quiet desperation. I absolutely love that. Do you want to expand on that a little bit for the listeners?
Yeah, I think for me, it's about living with your circumstance because that's all you feel you're capable of. And it's like existing, but not really living and not stepping into the true potential that you could have for your life, because people live like this every day. I would say a high percentage, maybe in the 90s, live like this every day, getting up, going to a job, or maybe even having a business, but it's one that doesn't light you up, that you don't bounce out of bed every morning buzzed to be doing your life's work, that feels so aligned with like a purpose that you feel inside of you, that pays you what you deserve to be paid and sees you living a life that is abundant in every area. Like that is meant for all of us. And it's easier than you think to create, but most people don't create it because they don't know how. So they stay living half a life, being half satisfied with certain things and just paying the bills and just getting by and being grateful for their lot, because that's what you do if you're a good person. Where in their mediocrity is a badge of honor, because it's like, well, I work hard and I work hard for everything I've got, and living their whole life like that, that's quiet desperation. And that annoys me, because not for the individuals, but for the people that it annoys me that people tell you that's the only way to live. And I think that starts from a really young age. It starts in school.
Yeah. I think school does conform you. And don't get me wrong, I'm like a forever student and I love learning. But I feel like, at least here in the States, I feel like school conforms you to fit into that quote unquote employee mindset or quiet desperation, where you just, like you said, you take whatever hand you've been dealt and that's it.
Of course. It's a system that we've got to keep moving people through, or else, the people that put the system in place for them anymore unless people keep moving through the system, right? So I don't want to sound like, it's some sort of conspiracy. I don't mean that at all. Like if you
I know what you mean.
If you do your life's work and you needed to go through formal education to do it, like let's say you feel called to be a doctor and it lights you up and that's your path, amazing. You need to go to school, university, etc., and learn that of course you need to study hard. But there's a lot of people out there that don't quite fit into that system and don't quite need to be labeled at a very young age of what they could do and what's possible for them based on grades, because that's dated.
Right. So I don't consider myself a millennial, even though I think I'm like right on the cusp of that. I feel like I'm just a little too old to be a millennial. But I feel like as this millennial generation gets a bit older and they're in this entrepreneurial mindset and this meant for more mentality, I feel like as some of these older people leave, leadership roles in things like politics and whatnot, that we're going to start to see a shift. And I feel like we already are seeing a shift. I feel like we're riding this new wave into the future. So excited about that. And I feel like not just in the States, but globally, that these opportunities and these meant for more mentalities are taking precedence and they are catching people's attention and they are filling people's, cups of hope. And like, if she can do it, I can do it. And so my vision is maybe in 50 years from now, when some of these old school thought leaders are out of, leadership positions, like I said, in politics and other things, that I think there's going to be a lot of big changes that come for future generations.
I agree. I totally agree. And the world has become a smaller place because of the opportunity we have in our hands. I mean, I practice gratitude every morning. It's part of one of my daily disciplines. I start the day giving thanks and gratitude for everything that I have in my life. And one of the things that I give thanks for every day is Mark Zuckerberg on Facebook.
Yeah.
And you know, and other people that have led the way in this really exciting time that we find ourselves in. And of course, there are some negatives to that. There is to everything, yin and yang, night and day. There has to be balance. But there is just so much opportunity for positive change. I had a lady contact me a few weeks ago, and it gives me goosebumps when I think about it, because she applied for a call with me to talk about how she could potentially be a fit for one of my mentorship programs. And it was an African application form, and we don't get many of those. And she was living in a little town in Kenya. And she said to me on the call, Michelle, I've had internet for 2 years. That's it. The day I got the internet and started exploring on Facebook, I was exploring for opportunity, because we don't have much opportunity where I live. And I came across you, and I followed you for 2 years. And while some of the people in my village have been saving money for things like a fridge, an oven, and basic things that you might take for granted, I've been saving for your program, because then I can buy the whole village a fridge.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You guys, if your business doesn't give you goosebumps, reevaluate.
Totally. And that was a goosebump moment for me. And there are many, because, you know, your business does have to give you goosebumps, of course, but this is a call to action for anybody out there that knows you could be making a difference in the world, sharing a message, monetizing the things that you know, the things that feel effortless to you, creating a business that makes the world a better place in some way. That's what it's all about. And that's what we all have the opportunities to do.
Yep, we totally do. That's wonderful. I love that story. I absolutely love it. Well, tell us, I'd love to hear a little bit more about the work that you do, because obviously, you guys, when you love your work, it definitely shows, and, you know, you can create feelings in others and basically start to change other people's lives. And this creates that, you know, a ripple effect. I know people hear about the ripple effect, and probably the people listening to this understand what that means, but, you know, it's a big deal to start somewhere, and then your ripple will, you know, impact your client directly, whose ripple will impact who knows how many people. Mm-hmm. So tell us, give us kind of an overview of your business, and, you know, talking about, you know, I would even love to hear about what led you to writing your best-selling book.
So I guess an overview of the ripple effect that I'm trying to create. And I love that you call it that, because that's how I see it. I really do. And I think everyone that rises up, they light the way for more people to do something extraordinary. And my part that I see in that is helping women. And I only work with women, and it's not because I'm a man hater. It's because we are a different species. And when we're going to the next level of success and creating something like a business from scratch, we're emotional beings, and it's not just a strategy to navigate, but we have ourselves to navigate in that mix. So I focus in on helping women to pull together every moving component that needs to come together to build a successful online business, monetizing the skills that they already have. So we first of all extract who you are and what it is that you could provide a solution for a problem to. So, you know, every good business provides a solution to a problem. So what problem could you provide a solution to on the current skill set, mindset, knowledge that you already have? And how can we build on that and turn that into a profitable online business that helps the world in some way? And that doesn't mean that you've got to be a humanitarian or do charity work. Everything that, you know, has the possibility of providing a positive impact. And when I was starting out, in the online space, I just found it so hard to navigate. There were so many experts and gurus, and I'm sure they're all incredible, but there was just too many pieces for the jigsaw to pull together. You know, how to do sales funnels, how to use Instagram, how to use Facebook, how to use email marketing. I felt like my head was going to explode.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much. And it felt like a jigsaw puzzle that was just never going to be complete. So I wanted to provide a space that was fully inclusive of everything that you need to know, step by step, easy to implement, that really takes all of that confusion out of it. So it's all in one place. So in the Women's Wealth Accelerator, we focus in on, strategy, step-by-step process to build a seven-figure business online, but also helping with the mindset and emotions that come with doing that, because it's not an easy ride.
Right.
The book was an extension of that, really, because not everybody's ready to dive in and commit on that level that the Wealth Accelerator requires you to commit on. It's a 12-month, super intense period of time where we are launching, scaling and making a business profitable. That's not an easy feat in across 12 months, and not everybody's quite there yet. So I wanted to have something that could help people that weren't. And normally when someone's not quite there, it can be mainly around the beliefs they hold about success and money. And for me, as I mentioned at the start of the call, that's where I was held back in the beginning. I thought that I'd got some bad relationship stuff going on with money. If it was a relationship with me and money, it would have been pretty toxic. I kind of loved it and hated it and didn't believe it was for me, and got a lot of fear that came up when it came to the subject of money. And I know that, you just can't accumulate it if you don't have a great relationship with it. So that had been another part of my journey that I wanted to share in the book, which is really a journey to transforming your relationship with money so that you can go from kind of scared of money and in a toxic relationship to fearless and abundant.
Let's give the listeners a little bit more information. Tell us the title of this book and where we can buy it.
So the title's Miss Moneybags, and it can be found on Amazon. Kindle or paperbacks available. So everyone's into the Kindle right now, but I just love a book in my hands that I can feel. And yeah, for me, it will always be a good old-fashioned book.
I'm an audiobook junkie, but otherwise it's got to be a real book.
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us now, you have a free gift for everybody listening. So tell us a little bit about this amazing gift.
So it's called the Freedom Formula for Female Entrepreneurs, and it is a step-by-step guide to building a business that gives you a life of freedom. Because for me, business is just a slice of the pie. It's not the whole picture. There's more to me than just being an entrepreneur. I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend to people. And I think balance is really important. And my business needed to fit around my life and the things that were important to me. I didn't want to build another business, because I have built businesses where my life had to fit around the business, and I became resentful, and I ended up being run by the business rather than running the business myself. So it's not just about building a business, it's about building a business that you can truly leverage and scale, that gives you a life of freedom. And for me, that meant travel, because I absolutely love to travel. It's the thing that lights me up more than anything, next to helping people get set up in business. Travel and seeing the world, I needed to be location independent. So the Freedom Formula talks you through the step-by-step process that I had to implement to not just build a seven-figure business, but do it without burning out and without making sacrifices that made it not worth it at all.
Yeah, because a lot of people will start a business and they treat it like a job. And they don't create a business that works for them. They create a business that they work for. So it's, if they go on vacation, then they're not earning money. If they take a day off, then they're not earning money. Instead of having systems in place where their business continues to work for them, even if they step away for a day or a week or a month even,
Exactly. It's, most people go from a job to a business and they're worse off because they're not a business owner or a CEO, they're a service provider, delivering a service that when they don't work, they don't get paid, as you said, and you've got no holiday pay, no sick pay. You are suddenly worse off, and your boss is a loon normally because it's you, and you push yourself harder than anybody else will ever push you. So it's about stepping into the shoes of CEO and having a structure and strategy and processes in place to build a business that someone else could pick up and run and make profit without you being present. Even if you build a personal brand,
right,
where your end service is you can still build a leveraged business. And I think this is where people get confused and think, well, because I am the brand and I am the business, which most of my clients are the brand and they are the business, then I can't leverage myself out of it. But you absolutely can and should if you want to have a life.
Absolutely. Yeah, because otherwise you're pretty much on the fast track to burnout.
Totally. And I've been there a lot and it's not pleasant.
Yeah. And I feel like if people like you and people like me can save our clients from having that experience in business, then please let us. I mean, because it's not fun to be in that place of burnout. And I appreciate learning the lessons of those who've come before me of what not to do just as much as I do the things of what to do.
Totally. And it doesn't have to be a trade-off. You haven't got to make a big sacrifice of your life and time and family time and making memories to be a serious business owner experiencing outrageous success. It's not a trade-off. It doesn't have to be, but it doesn't happen by accident either. You know, you've got to plan for it and you've got to have the structure and strategy for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you have to have a little bit of some mindset for it too. You have to believe in yourself in order for anybody else to believe in you.
Totally. 1,000%.
Oh, love, love. Okay. So before we wrap up here, because I know you're all the way on the other side of the world from me, tell the listeners all the places where they can find you, follow you, send you some love, and connect with you.
Well, I'm very findable, if that's even a word, on social media. Apparently there's only one of me. So if you have a look on Facebook and just type in my full name, Michelle Stonhill, you will find me on Facebook. You'll find me on Instagram. You can also, as you connect through the free gift that I gave to you today, it will give you an option there to connect with me via email as well if you want to get yourself on my mailing list and receive some free training every week.
Amazing. You guys definitely make sure you do this. Hop over to Amazon as well. Pick up a copy of that book. Share some reviews. And Michelle, I am so grateful that you have joined us today and shared so much knowledge and value with all the listeners and with me. Thank you so much.
I'm so grateful to be asked. Totally honoured. So thank you again for the invitation. And I hope it's been helpful to at least one person. And if it has, then job well done.